Hey, welcome back to a new tutorial. This time we'll be focusing on sketching. So for starters, let's go to New and click on Isometric Part. Now before we start, let's go over the two possible modeling environments that we can have with Solid Edge. So the first one is synchronous and the other one is ordered. Ordered is the traditional modeling environment, where every single feature and sketch is placed in the tree in the order that they were made, effectively creating what it's called a parent-child relationship. So for example, if you have a sketch and from that sketch you do an extrusion, the sketch becomes the parent and the child is the extrusion. On the other hand, you have the synchro, which is feature-based. There is no parent-child relationship, and once you create a feature, you cannot modify it by backtracking to the sketch. Instead, you add features to it to modify the part. Both have their advantages. For simple parts, you can do them quite quickly with synchro mode, but for more complex designs, the history-based tree of the ordered mode might be more useful if you want to change a detail on a certain sketch. There are loads of synchro mode tutorials online, including the ones that GreenPower put in the technical Facebook page, and you can see the link to those on the description of this video, as well as the link to the Solid Edge resources page of the GreenPower Iberia website. But for these tutorials, we'll be using the ordered environment to provide you with another perspective on Solid Edge. Then you can compare between the pair of them and choose what better suits you. You can even design parts using both modeling environments. Let's change to the ordered modeling environment by clicking this yellow line, which is the top of the tree of features. Right-click on it and click on Transition to Ordered. Now let's go to Sketch, and you need to select a plane on which you are going to draw. There are three of them, the XZ, the XY, and the YZ, and you can select them by passing the mouse on top of them. Select the XY plane, which is the top plane, as you can see on the bottom right. So to start off, click on the line option, click on the origin of the coordinate system, and then drag the mouse up. Type in 200 millimeters, and make sure it's a vertical line, and press escape when you're done. Let's see an example where we don't place the line vertically or with the correct length. You can click on it and change the length and the angle on the top row here. And now you have it set up correctly. Let's try it another way. You can come up here to the horizontal/vertical command, click on it, and select the line. You will see that a small red plus sign will appear right in the middle of this line, indicating that it is indeed a vertical line. But now the length is different, so you need to change it. Okay, so let's continue where we left off. Draw a line collinear with the x-axis that starts in the origin of the coordinate system and has 65 millimeters in length. To finish off the triangle, you can drag the mouse up here and click on the orange circle, which is the edge of the vertical line. But let's see another case where we misplace this diagonal line. You can go up here to the connect option, click on both endpoints of the lines, and you will connect them. Don't forget to check if the dimensions of the vertical line stayed the same. Now let's see if we misplaced this diagonal line a bit lower. What I'm doing here is clicking on the red endpoint and dragging it down. To connect to the diagonal line, you can select the Extend to Next option and click on the line. You will see that a small X appears. That means that the endpoint is connected to somewhere in the middle of the vertical line, instead of endpoint to endpoint. If it is endpoint to endpoint, you will see a little square like here on the bottom right. If you want to trim the excess of the vertical line, you can click on the Trim command and click on the excess. Now you'll see the red square appear, but now notice that the length of the vertical line has changed, so you'll need to correct it. You can do it by coming up here as we did before, or by selecting Smart Dimension and clicking on this line. When you click again to place the dimension, you will see this window appear. Click OK and I'll show you what it means. Basically, if you change this dimension, you will scale the whole sketch entirely. If you don't want this to happen, you can go up here and click on the auto scale to turn it off. Now you can change the dimension and notice that the bottom line will not change. By placing the Smart Dimension, you are actually locking the size of that line, so it cannot change during the whole design process. You can also do that by clicking on the Lock option up here and clicking on the line. Now you can see that if we change the length of the hypotenuse, the only other line that will change is the horizontal one to compensate for it. But let's put it back to the 65 millimeters. Something else that you can do is define the angle between two connected lines. For example, here you can see it's 72, and you can change it, for example, to 60, using the command right next to Smart Dimension. Now onto another feature. You can click on this option to add a fillet to a certain corner. Type in 10 on the radius and press enter. You can also add a chamfer. For example, in this top corner, you can set different setbacks to the different lines or select a different angle, but in this case I've just clicked randomly, as this is just for showing purposes. Another thing that you might want to do is draw some reference lines. For example, you can come up here to the line command, and if you put the mouse on top of the y-axis or on top of this vertical line, you can see that it will turn orange. When it does that, it uses this line as a reference. So by dragging the mouse up, you can see a dotted line onto which you can draw. And there you go, you have drawn a line collinear with the y-axis. Notice that this is a dotted line, so it's used as a reference. You can change it back from a reference or construction line to a design one by clicking on this option. But let's keep it as a reference for now, because what you want to do next is mirror. If you hold down Shift and click on all the different lines of this trapezoid, and then let go of the Shift button, and click on the reference line, you can mirror the lines that you've chosen before. Congratulations, now you have a Dorito with a broken tip. Let's correct that. You can come up here, select arc by 3 points, select these two vertices, and then place the line wherever you want to. Now you can add a tangent relationship to it by clicking up here and selecting the arc and the straight line. Now you'll see that you have a little red circle outside of the little red square, meaning that not only these are connected lines, but they are also tangent to each other. Now I'm going to trim these lines just to have the outline of the sketch. The last interesting feature we're going to see today is the offset command. It basically does what the name suggests. By selecting a certain distance and the sketch, you can offset it by the distance you've typed in. Here's one interesting bit. If you select single up here in the menu, it will just select one of the edges, either a round one or a straight one. And if you select chain, you can select the closed profile of the sketch. You can do this as many times as you want in one go, both to the inside or to the outside, and when you're done, press escape. There were a few options here that we didn't glance over today, but we will surely do it in future videos, and you can try it by yourself as well. When you're done, click the white check mark surrounded by a green square, click Finish, and Cancel, and your sketch is complete. That's it for this sketching tutorial. On Saturday we will release a new tutorial, this one being about solids. Be sure to check it out as it will be useful for the first edition of the CAD modeling competition of Green Power Iberia. Alright, that's my time. Thank you for watching. Until next time.